Lesson 9.1, Right Triangle Trigonometry. Our essential question, how do you evaluate trig functions of acute angles? Find unknown side lengths and angle measures of right triangles, and use trig functions to solve real-life problems. Standard 9.1, number 2.5, special right triangles. So first from geometry, you'll remember the 45, 45, 90 degree special right triangle, where the legs are always equivalent to each other. The leg to hypotenuse had a ratio of 1 to the square root of 2, and you were always able to use this ratio to find your missing values. So let's look at number 1. Immediately across from the 90 degree is always the hypotenuse, which meant these two are the legs. The legs are always equivalent, which meant 8 has to be x as well, because both of these are the legs. So we have a leg, and we have our hypotenuse, because it's immediately from the 90. So I have leg and hypotenuse. My ratio of leg to hypotenuse is the ratio of 1 to the square root of 2. I know that my legs are 8. What is my hypotenuse? I don't know my hypotenuse, but I can use these ratios to discover it. Because I know 8, I did 1 times 8 to get the 8, which meant I needed to multiply the square root of 2 by 8 to get my y. So 1 times 8 gave me the 8. I know my leg is an 8. Square root of 2 times 8 gave me my y. Square root of 2 times 8 is 8 square root of 2. So I know my y value is 8 square root of 2. Let's go look at the next one. It's a 45, 45, 90. Which meant these two legs right here, both of these are legs, they're equivalent. Since this leg is 25, that means y also has to be 25, which meant I need to find x. So I have a leg to hypotenuse ratio that I know is the ratio of 1 to the square root of 2. Do I know my leg? I do. I know that my leg is 25. I need to find my hypotenuse, which I don't know. My hypotenuse is x. How did I get from 1 to 25? Well, you would have multiplied 1 to 25 to get the 25 that we know our leg is. If that was a multiply of 25, that means this side also has to get multiplied by 25 to find our missing x value. So square root of 2 times 25 gives me 25 square root of 2. So that is my missing x. It's 25 square root of 2. Last one. These are my legs. My legs are equivalent. I don't know either of them. All I know is my hypotenuse. So my leg to hypotenuse ratio is the ratio 1 to the square root of 2. My leg I don't know. My hypotenuse I do. My hypotenuse is 19. So I need to figure out, what did I multiply the square root of 2 by to get the 19? And we're going to do that over here. What times the square root of 19, or square root of 2, gave me my 19? Dividing both sides by the square root of 2, I know x to be 19 over root 2 is what I would have multiplied both sides by, but that needs to be rationalized. So multiplying both of these sides by the square root of 2, you found this to be 19 root 2 over 2 is what both sides got multiplied to. So this was 19 root 2 over 2, because root 2 times this would have given me 19, which meant this way also needs to get multiplied by 19 square root of 2 over 2. So 1 times 19 root 2 over 2 gives me 19 root 2 over 2. We already knew the hypotenuse was 19. So we just found out that my x value is 19 root 2 all over 2. Well, x and y are the same because they're both legs. So y is also 19 root 2 all over 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So here's an example of a 30, 60, 90 triangle. The 30 degree is always immediately across from the short leg. The 60 degree is always immediately across from the longer leg. And you know your 90 degree is always right across from your hypotenuse. So our shorter to longer to hypotenuse ratio is 1, root 3, and 2. So we're going to use these ratios similar to the 45, 45, 90 ratio to solve for our missing values. So looking at this problem, my 60 is immediately across from the longer leg, which meant this has to be 30, which meant my 5 is my shorter leg, and immediately across from the 90 is going to be my hypotenuse. So I need to figure out my x and my y. I only know my short. So I have my long to short to hypotenuse ratio. My long leg is root 3. My short leg was a 1. My hypotenuse was a 2. These are my ratios. Do I know my actual long leg? I don't. My long leg is an x. Do I know my actual short leg? I do. My short leg is a 5. Do I know my actual hypotenuse? I don't. My hypotenuse is a y. I only know one full complete ratio, which means I need to figure out what did I multiply to the 1 to get this 5. Well, I know I multiplied it by 5, which meant everybody else is also going to have a multiply by 5 to get the next. So root 3 times 5 gives me a 5 root 3. We already knew the 5. Now what about my y? 2 times 5 gave me a y of 10. So I found my x and I found my y. My x is 5 root 3. My y is a 10. Let's do the next one. 30 degrees is always immediately across from the short leg, which meant this is 60 and this is then my long leg. Immediately across from the 90 is always my hypotenuse. So I need my long to short to hypotenuse ratio. My long leg is always a root 3, my short is always a 1, and my hypotenuse is always a 2. This is the given ratio. But what does my given triangle give me? My long leg, do I know it? I don't, it's a y. My short leg, do I know it? I do, it is a 14. My hypotenuse, do I know it? I don't, it's an x. My short leg is the only ratio that I know. What did I multiply 1 by to get the 14? 1 times 14 gave me the 14. So I know that I need to multiply everybody else by 14. 2 times 14 is going to give me my x value of a 28. I already knew that this was 14. Root 3 times 14 gives me 14 root 3. So I know my y and I know my x. My x is 28. My y is 14 root 3. Last one. 30 degrees is always immediately across from the short, which meant he is 60. This must be long. Immediately across from the 90 is always my hypotenuse. So I have my long to short to hypotenuse ratio. My long is always root 3. My short is always a 1. My hypotenuse is always a 2. Do I know my long leg? I don't. My long leg is a y. Do I know my short leg? I don't. My short leg is an x. Do I know my hypotenuse? I do. My hypotenuse is 32. The only ratio I see was 2 to 32. What did I multiply 2 by to get 32? 2 times a 16 is what gave me 32. So we're going to have to multiply the others by the 16 to get there. So root 3 times 16 gives me my y, which is a 16 root 3. So there's my y. 1 times 16 gave me my x, so there is my x. And I already knew this other one was 32. So my y is a 16 root 3. My x is a 16. 60 is always across from the long. This is 30, so this is short, and this is my hypotenuse. Long, short to hypotenuse ratio. Root 3, 1, 2. Do I know my long? I do. He's 20. Do I know my short? I don't. He's y. Do I know my hypotenuse? I don't. He's x. So root 3 times something gave me a 20. So we're going to think about that up here. Something times root 3 gave me my 20. Dividing both sides by root 3. That something I had to multiply by was 20 all over root 3, which needs to be rationalized. And when you rationalize it, that gives you 20 root 3 over 3, which meant everybody in here is going to get multiplied by a 20 root 3 all over 3. So we already had an answer of a 20. 1 times 20 root 3 over 3 is 20 root 3 over 3, so that must be my y. 2 times 20 root 3 over 3 ends up giving me my x, which is a 40 root 3 all over 3. Last one. This is a 30, which means immediately across from my 30 is my short leg. So this is long, so this is my long leg, and this is my hypotenuse. So I have my long, short hypotenuse ratio, which is root 3, 1, and 2. My long leg I know is 9 root 3. My short leg I don't know, it is x. My hypotenuse I don't know, he is y. This was the only ratio I knew. So I need to figure out what did I multiply root 3 by to get 9 root 3. He was multiplied by 9, which meant everybody else is going to get multiplied by 9 as well. So this was already a 9 root 3. 1 times 9 gives me 9, so my x is a 9. 2 times 9 gives me my y, which is an 18, so my y is an 18. There are 9 problems left on the page for independent practice. Please take a closer look at those.